can't be depressed if you're rich. It's the same thing.
I think you probably can.
I think most people that made the wrong decision to get rich probably are.
Yeah.
I think that's more. No, maybe not. I was about to say there's more rich people being depressed than poor people, but I can't say that.
I heard a study, this was a few years ago, but suicide rates is usually higher with people that are rich than poor people. I think they hit a certain plateau. Like artists, you always hear of it, like celebrity, whatever. They hit like a certain plateau. I think they get everything they want, and then they're just like, shit, this doesn't fix my problem that I had here. And that's why a lot of them, besides, I mean, OD accidents, I'm talking about like commit suicide, right? It's almost fun, to me, it's
but
like...
OD might be to cope with that.
Yeah, but then also it's like the fact that like below the poverty line, it's like suicide is very rare. It's almost like they're like, I got bills to pay. I got shit to do. I don't have time to think of suicide.
Got 2 kids to feed.
I wish I could.
Working 3 jobs.
I wish I could sit in my big house and contemplate if I'm going to live or not. Not insulting anyone. I do understand some people have a mental thing. I get that. Before anyone says anything to me, I'm just saying as a whole, I think maybe you get to a certain level and you're like, oh, I bought this. I've done that. I've experienced this. I've done all this shit I thought was on my bucket list, and then you're just kind of like, fuck, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled.
Yes,
I think that's that space where something happens, right? But if you're always trying to eat and you're always trying to friggin' survive, and there's something to be said about being drawn thin a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
That's about when you say like we live in a simulation. A lot of people say like, yeah, rich people think that, but the mom that's working at McDonald's or like a 12-hour shift to feed her 2 kids. She's like, no, we're not living in simulation. This would be the shittiest simulation ever if I have to work in McDonald's for 12 hours.
It's like, what did I do?
Yeah, exactly. You put me in this fucking simulation.
Who chose me to have this? What the shit? What kind of a person was I with in my past life?
That's a shitty simulation.
It's like, yeah, that's a good point. If someone's like making games, you're like, you know what? You're going to be miserable. You're going to do this. That's...
But they need those as well, or their NPCs. I don't know.
That's too funny. That's funny. Yeah, you're right. You're like,
it's
great.
True. I also think a lot of people also lean on getting rich and getting all the money will make them happy. So it's like, if I only can get to this, I will be happy. And once they get there, it's like, no, money didn't change anything. I still have these problems that I had.
But I guess...
And I also think it gets very lonely up there.
Well, when you're on your deathbed, I mean, you probably don't say, I wish I worked more. I wish I made more money.
No one says that.
Right.
Well, make more money, maybe.
Why? Because I think on your deathbed, you're like, I'm not taking shit with me. Right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe made more... Maybe they can... I wish I made more money to leave for my kids.
My family,
maybe,
yeah.
Maybe that can be one thing, but I don't think a lot of people thought like, I wish I worked more. I think I climbed the ladder a little bit higher in the corporate.
Or a lot of people get to the top and they realize there's just more bullshit up top too. Like bullshit is everywhere.
Yeah, it's crowded. It's not a lot of people up there.
But
either.
You know what I mean? Like there's bullshit wherever you're at. Just different levels of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you put it on a pedestal, but once you... It's also when you run into rich people like you do here, and they're just people. I mean,
that's everybody, right?
It's not super... Like,
I told you years ago.
Whoever famous you are, you're just a person.
No, but I told you years ago, the way I've always looked at people is you're either an asshole or you're not. And I don't mean an asshole like you disagree with me, so I think you're an asshole. Opinions are opinions, you know what I mean? I'm talking about like a real piece of shit, like a real... And there's a few out there. Like, that's how I categorize it. You know, those are the type of people. It's not what you have, because when you meet someone, if you think about them 5 years later, you don't remember what they had. Remember how they made you feel.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That's a very good point.
You remember how that person made you feel, and that's what you remember. You don't remember what they were wearing, what they had, what they didn't have.
If they had a nice Rolex, I would remember.
You probably would, you superficial fuck. But you understand what I'm saying, right? So...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to be grounded, even though you're climbing, or even though you like landing high jobs, but... It's like kind of a balance, because to go that high, you kind of have to have something empty in yourself almost to just chase those dollar all the time, like to get the richest person in the world. Because if you get to 1 million, there's always going to be a guy that has 10 million. And when you get to 10 million, it's always going to be a guy that has 100 million.
Yeah.
And it never ends. You're always going to chase the dragon.
Well, I
if you
think
go.
it's different when people are.
You're going to feel like shit at
If
every
they're
plateau.
Yeah, but if they're
Plateau.
going after something
If you're not,
they
if
love,
you're not good in yourself.
like if you're like, I don't know, perfect example, just you want to be a basketball player, you love basketball, you work hard, you get good, then you start going up these tiers, you start getting rewarded for your efforts of something you love. That's probably a bit different for some people.
That's
but when you're
totally
like,
different.
it's all about how much I have in my account, that's got to be a lonely feeling.
If you don't love that. If you don't love the chase.
Yeah.
Some people love the chase. What's that dude? That's Hermosi, Alex Hermosi.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the game of money. Like you can tell. Like when he talks about it, he loves
He
the
just loves
chase.
to see how it works, probably.
Yeah, he just loves building stuff and just getting rewarded from it, stacking money. He loves it. You can clearly tell. So some people love it,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people there's a void they're trying to fill with money.
No, of course.
I think that's
And that's a
the
lonely,
most common.
That's lonely. And I mean, I told you about my last trip to Florida. Remember, some people I ran into, and it was just like, whoa, you know, it was just there was a couple of them there that you could tell it was just money, 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 money. You know, to the point like, don't you see what I have? Say something about what I have. Look at what I've like that kind of a.
Look at all my
Don't you think I
stuff.
look nice, or don't you like what I'm wearing? Like it's like that's a whole level that you're just like I don't even want to.
It's like that James Franco quote in Spring Breaks when he's like in his room and he's like, look at all my stuff. And he has like gold stuff everywhere.
It's like who cares?
Yeah.
Right? It's like
So,
yeah.
and fronting with it is so ridiculous. Like you can see like a guy pulling up in a Lamborghini or whatever. It's not a, you can go straight with a Lamborghini and that's about it. You can't even pull up to a driveway without scratching it.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
Would you buy a Lamborghini?
No,